whenever I started being able to have a voice of my own and feel actually empowered for once by my own sexuality and experimenting with that on my album Stripped and my song Dirty, it was a conversation piece. It was a very interesting time being 21 and just being like, okay, let's converse about it. I would have conversations with my interviews sometimes with people that couldn't wrap their heads around it. But that's where the double standard came in, and I'm always for you can't shame me. And I think it's important as artists that we do take risks and we do put things out there that are gonna make people think a little bit and gonna make people talk. And that was, that song and that whole record had a lot to say, had a lot of opinions. And not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's gonna love it. Some people will, some people won't. But I think the interesting thing to be said here is that as an artist, as a creator of art, period, whether it's paintings on a wall, I think the beauty of it is getting it to be a conversation piece. Let's open up the conversation. Why does it bother you? Why don't you like it? Let's talk about it. How does it make you feel? Why do you feel shameful? If you don't give it that energy, if I have no shame in anything that I express, you know what I mean? I think the more we give the energy of like, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself and, hiding yourself. I mean, that, if that's not you, if that's not your comfort zone, then yeah, don't give it that energy. Everything is the energy that you give it. Objectification in this business as a woman is a very layered and, something different that everyone might experience. I clearly just, had no problem with sexuality being a part of my artistry and feeling comfortable in my own skin. And for me, that was definitely a message that I wanted to convey for women, to not feel objectified by men by, oh, let me put on my clothes and let me do this or let me do my makeup a certain way. Like, screw that. Like, I definitely made that very apparent on my Stripped album. I was, with the song Dirty. It was the funnest video I've ever done, by the way, ever. It was so free and fun, and it was with my girls and a lot of, crazy like plushies and it was crazy. It was a madhouse. David LaChapelle. That was a crazy fun video. And I look back at it so happy about it, but I got a lot of heat for it. I just felt like all of it was such a double standard. It's like, men get up there and they pelvic thrust and they do all of these things, and women go crazy and throw panties, and that's fine. But like a woman going up there and feeling empowered and in control of her whole world up there on that stage, to have that be seen negatively was just something that I felt very uncomfortable with. I couldn't stand for it. And, I think everybody should embrace what makes them feel empowered, and having a voice and having a stance on my sexuality and my, want for freedom, and that being a form of expression for me at the time was important. And I look back and thank God I had the balls to do it. I think that self-expression through sexuality, as far as, a creative sense or that sort of energy, I think it is what you give it. It's your own comfort zone with it. It's not gonna work for you if you're really not comfortable doing it. But if you're gonna do it and you feel comfortable with it, own it. And that's something that I do save for stage, for videos, for the camera. I don't need to take that to a personal place with who's around me in a work environment. That is something that I do as an artistic expression and something that you should own. My heart goes out to anybody that thinks they have to be forced to be sexy. That was always something that I owned in my performance value on camera, for entertaining, for my own artistic sensibility, behind the mic, in my space. But never feel that you have to put yourself in the position where you have to personally supply that for your producer or who your being recorded by, or, I mean, we've all been around, this business is full of seedy people, so you have to know your own limitations, Never allow yourself to feel objectified in any way, shape, or form. If you're feeling uncomfortable with it, then, you probably should put an end to it. Do what's comfortable for you. If it really feels uncomfortable or it isn't you, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. I'm still a student. I mean, I would hope to be a student into my 90s if I make it that far. It's like there's always places that you can learn from, pull from, grow from. There's just such a plethora of information out there to be gained and to absorb and then interpret it in a new way that might inspire somebody else or a new generation to see something differently through different lenses. And I think that's just so awesome. It's just so beautiful to really take something in and digest it for what it is and be inspired by it to the point where you can reinvent it or propel yourself into a new stage of growing that can really change somebody else's life. And that, to me, I think is, it sums up what music really is. It's about touching and moving people and making people feel something, and all in all, making people feel connected as one.